You know, I always wondered if Captain America gets into so much trouble for causing so much collateral damage and the death of innocents, how much trouble do these Jaeger pilots get into? I mean, look at this scene. How many innocent people died in those buildings? Pacific Rim Uprising is the second Pacific Rim film after the 2013 original. It is an action-adventure movie with giant robots. It's directed by Stephen S. Deknight and it stars John Boyega as the son of Idris Elba's character from the first movie. In the film, it's been 10 years since the giant monsters, the kaiju, were defeated and sent back to their dimension. John Boyega is a party boy and a scavenger, but he's recruited against his will in order to train the next generation of Jaeger pilots, the Jaegers being the big giant robots. But the Jaegers are being made obsolete because now there are drone Jaegers, remote controlled Jaegers that don't require physical pilots inside. And somehow, somewhere, there's always going to be a threat that the kaiju will return to Earth one day to cause damage and destruction, because it wouldn't be a Pacific Rim movie without either of those. A lot of people enjoyed the first Pacific Rim movie, which was directed by Guillermo del Toro. I wasn't one of those people. I thought it was a bit too silly and over the top for my liking. But knowing that, I went into Pacific Rim Uprising expecting that similar tone, so I was ready for that. I wouldn't be caught off guard. I was also hopeful because the director of this movie, Stephen S. Deknight, is also the showrunner for Daredevil Season 1. And I love that show. When you buy a ticket to see a Pacific Rim movie, you don't expect an Oscars level anything. In fact, there's only one reason people will want to go see this movie, and that's to see giant robots fighting giant monsters in a cool, flashy way. And the movie does deliver on some of that, especially in the second half of the film. When the big action set pieces happen, it's really fun and entertaining to watch all these giant robots fighting, the colors and the electricity, destruction, and all the cool weapons that the Jaegers can use. I'm a big fan of John Boyega. I think he's very entertaining in this movie. He's got some mad acting skills, and in this film he's got that young Londoner charm about him, and it's really cool and entertaining to watch. That's sort of all the good things I have to say about Pacific Rim Uprising. I did not like this movie. I thought the plot was cohesive, so I knew what was going on. But the first half of the movie was just boring to me overall. I thought the beginning of the movie felt very rushed and choppy, and from a screenplay standpoint, it honestly reminded me of scenes from Transformers: The Last Knight, because we meet a young girl who's living in a junkyard and is good at fixing robots. She has a confrontation with the bad police robot, and the main hero attempts to save her. So this movie can't even separate itself from another recent giant robot movie, which is a sequel. Not only that, but when I sit and really think about it, there's really only one big robot monster battle, and we have to wait a long time for it, which was disappointing. But my biggest issue with this movie is the script and the dialogue. There are a lot of cheesy, silly lines in this movie. When my friends and I sat down to watch this movie and a cheesy line or transition would happen on screen, we would just laugh because some of those scenes were accidentally, unintentionally hilarious. But when it's not funny, it's cringeworthy. There is a scene near the beginning of the movie where the young girl we meet starts pointing out the names of all the robots, and I thought the dialogue in that scene was just really awkward. Also, at the end of this movie, there is this cringe central scene involving snow, and I have no idea why the filmmakers decided to keep that in the final cut. And this isn't helped by the fact that you're working with younger actors here who don't have a lot of Hollywood experience. And no matter how hard they tried, they just couldn't make the bad dialogue sound good. The movie very obviously tries to set up a sequel, and depending on how much money it makes and how successful this movie is in China, I'm not 100% sure we'll even get that sequel. I'm not sure if I even want that sequel. But if you're a fan of giant robots fighting giant monsters, if you're a fan of the previous Pacific Rim, and if you like John Boyega, I think there's something in this movie for you. Other than that, I don't think I can recommend this film to anyone else. I mean, I certainly enjoyed myself during certain scenes, but overall, I think the film is okay at best. I'm gonna give Pacific Rim Uprising a 5.5 out of 10. To be honest, I wasn't expecting much from this movie, so I suppose there is that bias going into it. But that's my honest opinion on this movie. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more content like this, like, subscribe, share, and comment below to let me know what you thought of this movie. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you kind of just indifferent about it? I'll see you next week for my next review, guys. Thank you so much again. Take care, have a great weekend, and peace out.